Karen damaged my surveillance mast. I flew her footage into court and won big. Have you ever caught someone red-handed, only for them to spin a tale so wild it makes your head spin? That's exactly what happened when Karen, my neighbor with a knack for drama, smashed my surveillance mast and then had the audacity to claim I was the one harassing her. What started as a petty neighborhood spat spiraled into a courtroom showdown, with her lies unraveling under the weight of cold, hard evidence and a surprise witness that left her speechless. It all began on a crisp autumn morning in our quiet suburban cul-de-sac. I'd installed a surveillance mast in my backyard to keep an eye on my property after a string of package thefts in the neighborhood. The mast was discreet, tucked behind my garden shed with cameras angled solely at my land. But Karen, who lived next door, took issue with it from day one. She'd march over, hands on hips, demanding I take it down, claiming it was spying on her. I calmly explained it only recorded my property, but she'd huff off, muttering about her privacy rights. One Saturday, I woke to a crash that rattled my windows. I bolted outside to find my $2,000 surveillance mast crumpled like a tin can, its cameras shattered. Karen stood nearby, clutching a sledgehammer, her face a mix of defiance and panic. "You had it coming," she shrieked, accusing me of filming her kids playing in her yard. I was stunned, destroyed my property over a baseless assumption. I called the police, who took I wasn't about to let this slide. I hired a lawyer, Tom, a no-nonsense guy who specialized in property disputes. We filed a claim for the cost of the mast, installation fees, and punitive damages, totaling $5,000. Karen's response? A countersuit claiming I'd been harassing her with invasive surveillance and causing her emotional distress. She demanded $10,000 and a court order to remove my cameras permanently. Tom chuckled when he read her filing. "She's overplaying her hand," he said. "Let's see how her story holds up when we bring the footage." Here's where things get interesting. My surveillance system had a backup cloud storage feature Karen didn't know about. Even though the mast was toast, the cameras had uploaded footage to the cloud right up until the moment she swung her sledgehammer. The video was crystal clear, Karen, in her bright pink tracksuit, sneaking into my yard at dawn, looking around nervously, then heaving the sledgehammer into the mast with a grunt of rage. She even glanced at the camera mid-swing as if daring it to catch her. Tom grinned like a kid on Christmas. "This is gold," he said. "She's done." But Karen wasn't going down without a fight. In court, she showed up in a pristine white blouse, playing the victim to a T. Her lawyer, a slick guy named Greg, painted her as a terrified mother protecting her family from my creepy surveillance empire. Karen took the stand, tears welling, claiming she'd only tapped the mast in a moment of panic after spotting it pointed at her kid's bedroom. She swore she hadn't meant to break it and that I'd been taunting her for months with my shady cameras. The judge, a stern woman named Judge Harper, listened impassively, but I could tell she was skeptical of Karen's crocodile tears. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. Greg called a surprise witness, Mr. Jenkins, an elderly widower from across the street. He shuffled to the stand, looking nervous, and testified that he'd seen me fiddling with the mast the night before it was damaged, implying I'd sabotaged it myself to frame Karen. I was floored. Jenkins was a sweet old man who'd always waved hello when I mowed my lawn. Why was he lying? Tom leaned over and whispered, "Don't worry. We'll handle this." On cross-examination, Tom gently pressed Jenkins. "Sir, how well can you see my client's backyard from your house, especially at night?" Jenkins hesitated, admitting his cataracts made it hard to see details. Tom then showed a photo of the cul-de-sac, proving Jenkins' view was blocked by a massive oak tree. Jenkins stammered, his story crumbling. Later, I learned Karen had pressured him, claiming she'd help with his yard work if he backed her up. The poor guy had been roped into her scheme, and now he looked mortified. It was our turn to strike back. Tom called me to the stand, where I recounted the events calmly, sticking to the facts. The package thefts, the mast's purpose, Karen's complaints, and the morning I found her with the sledgehammer. Then came the moment we'd been waiting for. Tom introduced the cloud footage as evidence, projecting it onto a screen in the courtroom. Gasps rippled through the gallery as Karen's sledgehammer assault played out in high definition. Her face on the screen was unmistakable, her rage palpable. Judge Harper leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. Karen's composure shattered. She jumped up shouting, "That's fake. He edited it." Greg tried to hush her, but the damage was done. Tom calmly asked the court to authenticate the footage, presenting metadata proving it was unedited and timestamped. The judge nodded, her expression hardening. Tom then played a second clip from my front doorbell camera showing Karen storming out of her house that morning, sledgehammer in hand, heading straight for my yard. It was the nail in her coffin. The courtroom was silent as Judge Harper deliberated. She ruled in my favor, awarding me $5,000 for the mast, repairs, and court fees. Karen's countersuit was dismissed with prejudice, and the judge issued a stinging rebuke calling her actions malicious and her testimony utterly lacking credibility. Karen sat there, red-faced, as her lies collapsed around her. Greg looked like he wanted to vanish. As we left the courtroom, I overheard Karen muttering about appealing, but Tom assured me her case was dead in the water. Walking out into the crisp air, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Not only had I won, but I'd exposed Karen's true colors to the whole neighborhood. Word spread fast by the next week. She was the talk of the cul-de-sac, and her usual haughty demeanor was replaced by awkward avoidance. I used the settlement to install a new, even better surveillance system, this time with a reinforced base and a sign warning of cloud backups. Karen hasn't said a word about it since. This whole ordeal taught me something profound. Truth has a way of rising to the surface, no matter how hard someone tries to bury it. Standing up to a bully like Karen wasn't just about the money, it was about reclaiming my peace and showing that lies can't outrun evidence. Have you ever had to face down someone who twisted the truth to hurt you? How did you fight back? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear your take on what's right and wrong in a mess like this.